Welcome to B.A.Showoff, the Dance Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Becky.
And I'm Alexandra. And whether you're a dance coach, dance parent, or a dancer yourself, this is the show for you. Today, we're sitting down and speaking with the iconic Sammy McFadden.
Hey, Sammy.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for being with us here.
Of course.
We've had so many people asking to have you on, so we finally got you here. And, you know, it's a little crazy because you're in choreo mode, but we're happy to have you.
I'm in my Miami residency right now.
Yes.
The yearly residency.
So for those of you who don't know Sammy, tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and how you got involved in this dance team world.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, trying to be a Spark Notes version of that. I grew up in a studio. I actually grew up doing more ballet and shifted in high school to more of an all-style studio where I was like competing, doing conventions, all of that stuff, and then pursued collegiate dance team. Was on LSU, and then after I graduated, moved to LA, pursued professional dancing. Right around when COVID hit, I started doing more choreo, and I really didn't think I wanted to do it or teach. I had really just wanted to stay like in the dancing lane. And then come to find, I actually really enjoyed and found like way more fulfillment with teaching and choreography. So stuck with that, and the rest has been history. It's actually funny, like my first year, like really doing dancing choreography, which is so funny. I did Reef in Carlsbad, and here we are, still all these years later. And I'm just so happy to be here. But yeah.
Yeah, it was a lucky draw for me. So, you know, the way I found you was through Choreo Connect, that I went there to the tribe site and started looking. You know, she's got all the choreographers' faces and like a little bit of their bio, and I read through everybody. And when I got to you, I'm like, oh, she's so cute. So I read, and I loved the fact that you were studio trained, ballet trained, that you were in that competition, convention style world, because that's my dancers are like that. They're very, you know, studio, convention,
right,
and then dance team also. And I love that you had the two, and that drew me to you. And I was like, okay, that's who I want. And
it's just so crazy because you really had no idea who I was.
No.
Also, I had like zero experience, in case anybody cares. Like, I did not know what I was doing. I was like, sure, I'll do choreography. Didn't know what was going on, and then here we are.
And here you are, and here you are. And how many years now? This is
I think this is year seven, yeah, which is crazy. Me and Nathan and Jovi were talking about that last night. I was like, year 7? Like, I feel like I've lived like 16 lives since I started this journey
pretty
with
much.
y'all. I feel like I've grown up with.
Well, I feel like each time you come, it ages you just a little bit.
Definitely. In the best ways. But yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's so rewarding. So I'm like so happy and lucky that we were able to connect all those years ago, because it's just like you don't know, obviously, in those moments, but like all of the things that have branched off from our connections and meeting Kristen, it's just like I have this whole like Miami family now, and I love it here, and it would have never happened if you weren't like, oh, who's this girl? Let me hire her. Like, it's so crazy. But I think back to like that first year, and I'm like, what was I? How was I finishing a routine? You didn't have studio space for me, and I was like all these things that I didn't know that I needed yet, and I was like just flying by the seat of my pants, figuring it out.
And every year it's like, so this year I need this year I need. So this year we got rolling mirrors to put in the gym.
Right.
Because, you know.
There is a Walmart link in bio, if you guys want some. They're really cheap.
They are. They're great.
We found the best price, so. Yeah.
They're great price, and they're going to, you know, big game changer for.
100%.
And then Ricky was like, well, if she's got them, I'm going to use them.
I know. I think I created a monster.
Yeah.
He's like, you get studio space. I want studio space. I'm like.
I want you to know that she gifts you things more than she gives me. I asked her something, she's like, Sammy, all right, she's got it.
I appreciate that, Becky. No, you do make my life a lot easier.
Yeah, we try. And you know, the kids love having you come in, and the energy that you bring is just, you know, one of a kind. So I think that you're such a complete package. It's great choreographer with great vision, super creative, and the passion all together. The kids are just sold. I mean, they don't sit like that for 10 hours for me, but they'll do it for you.
We're pushing it right now. Yeah. We're at the point in the process where they're losing their minds a little bit. But it's funny too, because I'm sure people know this that know you, but with Coral Reef, every year it's such a different team because you only have juniors and seniors. So like, that's the interesting dynamic I feel like about Reef, in the sense that every single year it's a new team dynamic. Like, it's not, you know, usually in high school, even there might be a varsity member that's a freshman with other teams, whereas with Reef, it's only juniors and seniors. So each year, like, truly, it's a new team. And to me, that's even more impressive that like, I'm like, they know of me, but they don't really know me. And then there's a whole new class of kids that are coming in and like blindly following me off the ledge. I'm like, okay, I appreciate it. I'm so grateful because like, it's their first year working. They only work with me for 2 years, which is so crazy.
Yeah, and
to think about.
It's a great 2 years, but yes, I think that it's for some of them that or if they were only in the team their senior year, or if they didn't get in the routine, they don't get to work with you for as many years. So it is a tough transition, and I like that. As JV, they have Kalia, which she worked with you. She's friends with you, so it's kind of like a buffer. Yeah. She's like a big teddy bear, and they get a little buffer before they start working with you. So it's a nice little transition from one to the other.
Yeah, it's so funny how like, and I love it too. Like the melding of the worlds, like all the people that I know from like the LSU world or just like dance in general that now like are like my babies, like a Kalia, a London, like Emmy, and now they're involved with Marley doing like game days. It's so fun to see like everyone kind of come into like Miami. And
I think we're lucky. We've gotten so lucky.
Yeah, we really have.
You have good taste.
Yeah. No, yeah. Definitely. There's
and
no
picking
doubt.
good choreographers. Yeah, no, truly.
So let's talk a little bit about your process and how you come up with these incredible routines, not just for us, but for LSU also, because at this point, it's just LSU and Reef that you work with.
Dance team wise, yes. They occupy my entire season. So.
Yeah.
People are like, why don't you do more? I'm like, where? They don't realize I'm like, it's like full time.
Yeah. For you, yes.
Yeah, I mean, just the creative process you want to talk about?
Yeah.
I mean, in general, it always kind of starts with like more of like the zoomed out, like of course, like the music, the concept, like what direction do we want to go in, like more of like a wider scope sense. But I'm somebody who, and it's funny because like without like giving away teasers like this year for Reef, like it's one of those things where it's like I just saw it and it was like a vision. And I physically see it in my head, like on that stage, how it would look. Like I start listening to music, and if it's something where I immediately see a specific vision, a concept, a visual, a step, a moment, I'm like, okay, that's a really good sign. And I think that that's how Carson and I operate too for LSU. It's like anytime that we're like excited off rip from like just listening to the music and seeing like in our heads what is possible, I think that's kind of like the first indicator of like, okay, this could be really great. And then past that, it kind of gets into obviously like the nitty gritty of like once you get on the job. I'm somebody who like does not really do much work beforehand. I'm like somebody who like boots on the ground once I get here, whether it's here or LSU, like we start the process. And it's very similar processes. It really is the same for LSU and Coral Reef. It's just a different creative team. But we come in usually like a day-ish before, and I have never in my life done a job by myself. I am like a big collaborator, and I really need other people in the room with me to talk through things. Like I just saw something on Instagram about like right brain people, how it can be so overwhelming, and it's ADD too, but like so overwhelming when you have an abundance of ideas. It's a great thing, but it's hard to like sort through it. And the way that I can sort through that is by way of like having a conversation with somebody. And if I don't have that, it feels like almost overwhelming. So like having a team is always a must. So whoever I'm working with, we will go to the studio day one without the team and like just choreo. Like I like starting with steps and kind of approaching it from like a non-pressure standpoint, in the sense of like it's just a combo, like let's just see what naturally flows out, what comes out, and kind of get excited about the step, because that's what I like to do the best, is like the steps. All the staging, the moments, like that's a little bit more of like the nitty-gritty, the more left brain side of the process that is like harder for me, that takes more time. So starting off with like the fun, exciting, like dopamine hit of like creating choreo, let's just have a combo, is kind of always the approach. And then from there, we'll kind of like see however much steps we get out, and that next day is generally like the day where we meet up with the team, we teach that those choreo chunks, start to like see the style and the movement on them to understand like who is who, what are we thinking, like who's standing out, who do you feel like needs to be in the routine, maybe that inspires a soloist moment or something different, and kind of just deciding what is the best choices, seeing if we need to edit anything, but really just seeing the movement on them to start understanding like, okay, like now we can start staging, knowing like from a personnel standpoint where people need to be, from like levels to like styles and moments like that. And then from there it kind of gets into like the actual like, okay, like pen to paper, iPad pencil to iPad formations and starting the intro. And I think like probably most choreographers would agree the toughest part, the intros every year, no matter what. And sometimes they flow easier because I'll see something right away. But I think that it's like pretty standard. You have like truly like 10 seconds, maybe less, even like 5, to like really garner an attention in a competition that's so saturated when you see routine after routine after routine. And so much of the dance team world, I feel like is like regurgitated and can get stale. So it's like we want to like feel like it's fresh and something new. And finding that moment, I think, is so hard. So that takes a lot of time. Usually I'll take like 2 days on an intro, if not 3. There's been years where we've taken longer.
Yeah.
And I've had to extend my trip. But I think that's such a crucial part to like start. And then I kind of just flow chronologically from there and start the actual process of like, okay, we have now all these steps. Where can we fill that in? How do we stage? Like, what are the big picture moments? We'll kind of like zoom out and like I'll talk through the music and be like, okay, I want like this to be a moment where it's like tempo change or like a stillness, or I see a patterning thing happening here, or I see like, you know, a specific genre or style here. And so kind of like zooming out and then trying to like fit those sections within like the map of the routine. But I feel like every year the process in a sense is different based off the routine. And I don't really get too tied down to like a formula. There's things I know that I need to be successful, like a studio space and like a mirror and space in a gym and things like that.
And
but
time.
A week minimum. Yeah. So the process, though, in a sense of like how things flow, and I'm not somebody who has like a very clear system. It's more so just like time and space in a studio, and then kind of figuring out from there what's flowing and what's not, and adjusting and giving myself the time, which is why I take so much time to be able to hit those creative blocks to then like pivot and fix. And there's days where I'll feel like I'm not getting anything done, and I'm like, okay, we're in the same exact spot. And then there's days where we cruise and we get so much done in one day. It just kind of ebbs and flows. And I think kind of the reason why I spend so much time is so I can like surrender to that and not feel super stressed by the timeline, because the timeline's always there, and that's kind of the worst part. But past that, like once the routine is done, there's definitely phases that it goes through, and like the editing and the like chipping away and making sure everything is right. Some years, there's years like Caught Up, I didn't change anything.
Yeah.
I truly touched nothing. It was just cleaning and some small edits and like the 17 versions of the costume that we had. But the costume was probably like the next thing that is like on the to-do list. And a lot of times while we're choreographing, we start to see things, and like we'll talk, or during the process we'll be like, oh, okay, like we could see like the use of this or that. And I really like in my head see like the full, like all 5 senses. So usually it's pretty easy to connect the costume. It's just like honing in on what that looks like. And I'll create a Pinterest board and try to see like a mood board and how it goes with that. And then from there, it's just like coming back, cleaning, getting the kids' endurance up, and like making all the things come together in real life. But it's a whirlwind and it's so fun, truly. So, yeah.
Is your process the same with Reef as it is with LSU, you think?
Pretty similar, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's really any differentiation. I mean, I think that we come back to LSU for a longer period in like December, where very frequently we like scrap and change a lot. Not because we like feel like it's absolutely necessary, but I think that a lot of times we have that time and we're able to, because they're off for so long, unlike high school teams, like we're able to have more time with them in those like December months where it's like post Christmas, post finals, where we can change more things. Yeah. I feel like it's harder in high school because like they don't really have the same availability. So we'll go back, I think, longer generally for LSU and like that December time frame to, if we need to, allow for an edit, a change. And there's been like Smooth Criminal and Like a Boy, we changed like a good 40 to 50% from when we started to then competition. So sometimes it takes like completing the thought and like completing the routine and like letting it sit and like the coach is getting it clean and like refining and seeing those videos to be like, okay, now I can see with a clear eye like what needs to be edited. But it varies every year on whether that needs to happen or not. So like Crazy in Love, we didn't change anything. Yeah, that's the past year we had to change a lot because of a rule change, but you know, you never know. So changes every year.
Tell me, we asked Carson the same question, and let's see what you say. What is your favorite routine that you've ever done?
I just don't really, I think back and I don't think we were expecting it, and we were just coming from such like an authentic place of like, we were so fulfilled by the vision and the kids and all the things and all the support that we had after the year of not being able to compete, that it was like the full scale experience. The choreography flowed so easily and it was like very fun to choreograph, but like I had no idea that it was gonna blow up the way that it did, and it wasn't really that was so rewarding. It was like seeing the support within the industry and even outside of dance team and dance and then entertainment, and how it just kind of like crossed all of these industries and how people were so appreciative of it and how it touched so many people. And that feeling of like being called in semifinals that we were in first place, like I don't think anything will ever top that, because it was just like, I was like top three. And then I was like, oh my God, we're like, they called second and it wasn't us. And it was just such a special moment. I feel like, I'm sure probably you can relate with, like once you win, not to sound ungrateful, but it shifts the paradigm of like feeling like, okay, like now we have to outdo ourselves and like keep on. Yeah. Whereas before there was kind of that lack, there's always a pressure, but like a lack of pressure before you're like winning consistently. So that year was just special because it kind of was like we weren't really expecting it. And now there's this, which like pressure is such a privilege, but with LSU it's like, what are they going to do? Like I feel like kind of what's put on the LSU brand and the Tiger Girls is like every year they're going to bring something different. Honestly, I feel the same way about Coral Reef. Mm-hmm. But it's like always innovating and evolving and pushing the envelope, and whether that's received well by judges or not, that, you know, is I feel like independent from what their purpose is in the industry. And so it's like, what are we going to do next? How is it going to be new and fresh and still authentic to us? And so Like a Boy stands out, but also Fallen really stands out to me, and Caught Up, to be clear. But it's because that process, like the same thing as Like a Boy, the process was so seamless that it felt so enjoyable, and like the creative process. When you can like enjoy that part, that even though it's so stressful, it just kind of like separates, I think, the competition part of like, okay, this was so fun.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. Carson said the same thing.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
She's like, I can't pick one, but
it was really special. It was, I think, so shocking, the response, that we were like, still to this day. I mean,
it hasn't gone away.
There's sororities that are doing it still. Yeah. I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah. Like, how many years? 4 or 5 years later? Like 5, 6, I don't know. It's not so.
Too many.
But yeah.
Yeah, really it doesn't go away, and it's one of those pieces that will always like, oh, I remember that piece, and you know, it's always gonna be memorable.
I feel like it's what kind of blew up college dance team to like not just the dance world, but like to everybody.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everybody was doing it, and everybody knew what was going on, and now it's such a big deal. Like you know, college dancing, people are tuning into ESPN, people are showing up to ESPN and taking people's seats because everybody just wants to see and
max
be there.
Capacity. We need a bigger venue, guys.
Yes, bigger venue, important.
Sure. Yeah,
for sure. Do you notice a shift also in the dance team world from when you started to now?
Absolutely. It's something that like I feel. It's funny. I think back to the time when I was on the dance team, like even at LSU, it's made a complete 180. I'm like, I cannot believe how big it is and how much. I think the most interesting thing is when I was in LA and I was dancing professionally, and I was like, I was so ready to detach from the dance team world and not wanting to be a part of that anymore. I was like, okay, like I lived that life, I'm moving on. Almost like it served me, but like this is gonna sound bad, but I feel like a part of the dance team industry can feel tacky and kind of watered down. And I feel like since like a Boy era-ish, since then, the quality and the merging of like the commercial industry and the dance industry has like fused and has made the quality so much better. Now there's better dancers getting on these college dance teams that would have prior gone to LA, New York, a dance company, you know, something like that. Yeah. And now are choosing to go to college dance teams, so the quality is getting better. Now these choreographers like Sandra Chavez, Ricky, all these people are now involved on the creative side that I would have never imagined would want to be involved, and they're like so excited to be a part of it. So the quality is getting so much better that it's now in this place where I feel like I'm really proud to be like a part of like the dance team industry, and it's something that's so cutting edge. I think there's a lot of things that are still holding it back, and it's like dead weight, but I think creatively and talent wise it's become insane. Yeah. Like when I was in the dance team at LSU, like LSU's always had a great reputation, but it was nothing like it is now. It is so crazy how much it's blown up. So it's really, really cool to see.
And both in college and in high school, that's happened. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really something. So I'm super excited.
So how is it that you met Carson in the first place? And how did you guys even get connected and start working together?
Okay, so we competed against each other to start. So like, I think it's like pretty standard. Like I think that if you were competing in the UDA circuit at the time of Carson Row, you basically knew who she was. Like the blonde girl on center in Cincinnati's routines. But so we competed against each other, and then it's funny because I was living in LA, and I think this story is so funny to me because it just kind of explains like the chaos of me being in LA and like trying to make money. But she like basically like they had reached out to me to see like, I think that I had posted like I majored in digital advertising in college, and I had graphic design experience, and I was doing things here and there, and they were asking like, okay, so like, do you like know how to edit? Like, are you a video editor? Like, can you do that too? Like, kind of thinking that it's in the same lane. I had no experience doing video editing. I was like, yeah. Like, I was just like, I need a job and I need to make money. So I was like, yep, I know how to do that. I did not know. Self-taught. So then
You'll figure it out.
Right. I'm like, one thing I'm going to do is figure it out. So I was like, yeah, I know how to do that. I had no idea what I was doing. So I started, like, helping with, like, some tribe promo videos and, like, just editing them. And then, I had to fully, like, teach myself how to, like, do, like, all the visual effects and, like, all the things and use the programs. And so I did that, which is so funny now because I'm like, I don't really do it anymore, but I did a lot of video editing for a while, and it was, like, only because I figured it out and self-taught myself.
Does she know now that you didn't know what you were doing?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. It's so funny. Yeah, I was like, I did not know what I was talking about, but I was like, you know what? I could always use some more money.
Right. Well, if there's anything Sammy can do, it's problem solve.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Google, YouTube. The resources are at my fingertips. So I figured that out, and I started, like, doing, like, one-off things for her. And then, like, in 2019, we started, like, traveling together, and she had, like, asked me to, like, assist on some things. And then we started working together, and, like, that was the first year we did LSU together. So, like, we were co-choreographing that first year, and ever since then, it's kind of been, like, the rest is history. But we were always aware of each other because, like, I mean, you guys know, the dance team world is so small. Like, when you compete against, like, you know people. So, it's actually funny. I remember LSU was kind of, like, in a transition, choreographically speaking, and Candace, coach at LSU, like, we were talking, and she was like, I don't know, like, what direction I should go. And I was like, maybe controversial because, yes, like, one of our top competitors for LSU was Cincinnati. And I was like, I think that you should consider Carson Row. And I was like, not wanting to choreograph this time. I was like, I'm not choreographing. I'm not a teacher. I'm just dancing. So this was, like, before she was ever hired. And I was like, I think that you should consider Carson Row. I was like, I know that sounds like, the time it seemed controversial because, like, she was, like, so, like, Cincinnati branded. But then Candace hired her, and then it was, like, such a great fit. And the team, like, did great with her choreo, and then she was kind of looking for somebody to bring on to do the job with her. And in 2019, I think that was the first year that me and her did it together. And she was like, you're, like, the crazy, like, LSU alumni #1 fan, so, like, come on. So that was fun. And then ever since then, we, like, that was the year I also got married, and, like, we were traveling. Like, I think I saw Carson more than I saw Connor the year I got married, like, literally. So I was, like, we were doing, like, every single, like, masterclass, intensive thing together. So that was really fun, and that kind of, like, I feel like set up, obviously, a good, like, synergy for choreo. And yeah, the rest is truly history, so.
And let me ask you, did she ever, like, consider, God, Cincinnati's my home, I can't choreograph for LSU, like, how, or was she like, you know, this is a job, I mean, it's.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that she was always, I think at that point, because, like, it was after she graduated, I think probably a lot of choreographers would say, like, yes, like, I mean, you have that, like, allegiance, but when, like, a great opportunity comes up, I think that you have to, like, do what's best for you. And just, I mean, I don't think it was a, you know, intentionally, like, oh, I don't want to be involved with Cincinnati. I just think that LSU needed a choreographer, and the opportunity presented itself, and I think she was excited. So, I mean, that's more of her question, but I think that I remember when I wasn't involved and she was, like, hearing that, like, you know, she was really excited to work with the team and the program, obviously. So I think that it was a good fit.
And now you guys are both the face of LSU. Like, it's, you know, you think LSU hip hop and you automatically Carson and Sammy. I
know, it's so funny to me because obviously, like, I was, you know, went to LSU and I'm an alumni, but we were actually in Dallas doing a job together. And somebody walked by Carson and was like, that's the LSU girl. And I'm like, we have done our job. Because, like, now they've, like, I've rebranded you. It's so funny to me that she's, like, now, like, being associated with LSU. And I was like, basically, you're an alumni at this point. I'm like, just get that alumni t-shirt at this point. But it's really funny. So, yeah, I mean, talk about, I could go on for literally 3 hours, but multiple hours, actually, more than that, about LSU. Just how crazy it is that we, like, after all these years and me being an alumni, the first year I tried out, I didn't make it. Now coming back, and it's like all of how life has worked, and still being able to be a part of the program, like, it truly is so special. And being able to see the evolution of the program, like, since I was on the team and still being a part of it, like, that is so special and truly the best. So
yeah. So there's so many kids now that want to do college dance team, want to be on teams like LSU. What are some things that you think make dancers fit in LSU or qualify to be somebody that can actually dance on LSU or be a part of the team aside from talent?
Yeah. It's so hard because I think that this is the hard thing about recruitment is I think that every year when there's a new recruitment class that they're looking for, the needs change based off of who's going out and what they're needing. And that might change even, like, you know, a style that they're looking to go for, or something that is now missing because of a graduating senior or a big class. Like it shifts every year. I feel like there's not like one like, okay, this is like your surefire way in. So that's like the hard thing about it. But I think that generally like one underlying common characteristic of all the LSU kids that I see is like a very strong sense of self and confidence and the ability to be super versatile. I think that it is hard to be on a team that is a jazz and hip hop team. I think that you have to have the ability to be a good mover, and that has to translate across genres. So if you're just looking at the black and white facts of the fact that LSU competes in jazz and hip hop, being able to slide the scale of being great in both obviously is going to make you a better recruit and a better pick in all circumstances, because those are the styles that they compete in. But with LSU, there's just like undeniable sense of like confidence and individuality in every single one of them. It's like so overwhelming, honestly. I'm like, how do we pick who's where in the formation? Because all of them are stars. It's like, it's so hard. So front to back, side to side, every single one of them has something really special to offer, and it's like them knowing that, and then it's more special to see them come together as a team and knowing that together they're such a strong force, and being like, okay, like this is your strength, but this is my strength, and I might be weaker in this, but you're stronger in this, and how that compensates for each other. It's like the confidence of like knowing what you bring to the table and not feeling insecure about it, about like where you lack. I think everybody has something that they're not good at, and today I feel like recruits have this pressure of like, I have to check every single box, I have to have everything perfectly. And like, yes, having versatility and being great at multiple things is obviously gonna make you a better recruit, but I think that people forget like the main bottom line is like, if you don't have something, a special it factor about you, none of that matters. Everyone can turn, everyone can learn a hip hop combo. It's like, the talent's only getting better. So like, what's going to stand out about you is like who you are. And I think that that's what kids are losing. And that's something that is very clear on LSU to me, is like their individual personalities coming through as dancers. And then the ability to not push the individuality so far that they know how to clean still. They can blend, but when it's a solo moment or like a group, like they can pull up and then like push that.
Right.
There's a lot of solo dancers that cannot understand how to blend and be a good teammate, and that's, I think, also a really special factor, but it's a little bit more vague in the sense of like what they are looking for. That's just something that I noticed as a choreographer, that like they all have such a star power about them, and they're also really funny kids and like really great kids. Like their personality alone is so enjoyable. So I think that that is something that gets lost on people a lot, is like the technicality of like, I'm a good dancer, I can do this, these are my skills, here's my Common App video, here's me as a dancer. It's like, but who are you as a person? Because that's your next 4 years. You have to mesh and gel as like a team synergy. And if that doesn't make sense, if they can't see you from a personality standpoint blending seamlessly in the team, it's not gonna come true. So I think that knowing and being able to have the self-awareness of like, even if you love a team and like a team, it's like, can you really see yourself being with that group of people for the next 4 years, and like being honest with yourself about that and showing your personality and not necessarily being, so nervous that you can't be yourself to a coach. People want to see and get to know you. So I think that that's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And okay, so one of the things that was great about bringing you, besides as a choreographer, was how much you helped my kids get into dance team worlds for college. Because when you started, you were like, Becky, why aren't these kids going to college? And I would tell you that, they don't want to leave Florida. It's been a struggle, but it's opened their eyes.
Yes, we're
so
just getting to that
it's
point.
finally, I'm so happy.
7 years later.
And it's funny because you're a big recruiter for LSU, and you bleed LSU and you want all the great kids to go there, but you were also very helpful in helping like Nicole get into Ohio.
Right.
You saw like this, this is a great place for you, and what should you do? So for kids who are looking at different colleges, what advice do you have for them to, why choose college dance teams, and what should they be doing to get into the right school?
I mean, it's such a loaded question. There's like so much advice I could give, but I feel like bottom line, I think that the most important thing that you can do is have somebody in your corner who can be really honest with you about your talent and your ability and where you could fit in, and being open to more than one option. I think it's really easy to buy into certain programs, these like top facing programs that people hear and talk about maybe like more than others, but there are, in my mind, when we talk about how great college dance team is getting and how the level and the quality overall is getting so great, that means that there are way more really great college dance teams that exist than there were when I was in college, for example. So I think that that's an exciting time. There's a lot more options. I think that it's so easy to get like emotionally invested in a team because you love their product at nationals, or you love the coach, or you love the people on the team and you want to be a part of that. But I think that you have to be brutally honest with yourself and have somebody in your corner that can have perspective of like your talent and where you lie. And I think that there you need to find the balance of like, it doesn't mean that you need to be on or looking at a team that you could like compete on tomorrow. There can be a gap of like, okay, I'm not there yet, but the gap needs to be in a place, like the margin needs to be in a place where you can actually reach that, and you're not going for a team that like you would never be on the mat, or you would, be struggling the entire time. You don't want that experience. You want to be on a team where like you're being pushed, but being pushed enough where it's like you can achieve the expectation that's put on you versus the stress of like, I'm never going to be enough. And I think that sadly, I see a lot of kids, and I get it. It's like there's 300 kids that come to the LSU clinic. Well, let's talk about the numbers. It's like, I understand wanting to train, and like I think that the training opportunities that these programs are putting together are like top notch anyways. No matter where you're going, the training's going to be great. But it's like the statistics say there's maybe 6, 7, 8 spots on each team, maybe every year. Like you have to be so honest with yourself about where is your talent lie, and like where am I going to invest my time and money. It costs money to go to these colleges, their clinics, campus visits, and you have to have somebody in your corner, whether it's like a dance teacher, a coach, a mentor that can be like, hey, like let's be real, Ohio State might not be in the cards for you. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that you're saying like you can't apply, you can't submit a video and you can't go through that process, but maybe you're a better fit for another program and you would better suit your time and energy and money investing in something else that would fit you as a dancer better. Everybody wants to be in the top 5 programs, but if you want to dance in college, I think there's a space for everybody, and there's so many great coaches, so many great programs that I think are starting to get more visibility, but kids are having a hard time like self-selecting and knowing where they align, if that makes sense. So they need a mentor to help them, I think.
Well, and I think now especially you see in college that like these teams shuffle around in the top 5, 100%. Right? Like they shuffle around just based on, judges really liked this team, this team's routine better than this one. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these teams are on the up and up that haven't even, look at UCF. UCF is a perfect example. Yep. That there's so much opportunity now to be on one of those top 5 teams, even if they weren't top 5 this year. Right. So I think that now a lot of schools are going to start gaining more recognition just based off of where they land maybe in the next following years. Yeah,
if you look at all the divisions, and that's not just D1A, that's D1, that's open. Like there are so many. I don't know if y'all have you seen Weber State?
Yeah.
Utah?
Yeah. Yes, incredible.
I have chills thinking about it because the routine I was like, that's one of the hardest routines I've ever seen in my life. Their jazz routine. I was like, God bless y'all for doing that. Right. But like people, like you could be on a great team and it could not be like the top 3 teams that you hear about. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's where like the guidance and the mentorship comes in, of like having somebody in your corner that can be like really real with you. Because I think that maybe some dancers are very self-aware, but some people are not. And I think that you have to have somebody talk that through. And it doesn't mean you can't like pursue it still, but it's about having options. Yeah. And a lot of times I think that there's like this feeling of like, I don't want to come across to a college coach as like, they're not my number one. I don't want to have options, but you have to do what's best for you. And that means like if your number one priority is to dance in college, you have to have options. And I think that you can still have a number one that you're like, your heart is set on, but I think that I like truly believe in God's plan and that you're going to end up where you're supposed to be if you like go about it the right way.
Well, and I think college coaches understand that too, that kids these days need to have options.
Need to have options.
They don't have the ability to take everybody that they want.
And like the top recruits, they're obviously being recruited by everybody. So it's like that piece too. So I think that also being able to gauge like, do I feel like this coach is interested in me? Like you kind of have to start to have those like hard like internal conversations or external with like insert mentor. Like when it gets to be going into your senior year of like, okay, like what feedback and like what energy am I getting back to like base off my decision moving forward this year of how I'm going to move. And I think that has to be an honest conversation of like, am I getting the vibe that they're interested or am I getting nothing? And like kind of basing off of that.
And they also they want to be part of something. And it's so cool to be part of like a team like UCF, right? That you're part of their growth. Right. Like you started there and I was part of getting the team from 7th place to 5th place to 3rd place. Like being part of that is so cool. Absolutely. Even like University of Miami now that they're just starting out. well, I could be a part of a team who got the team to go there, who was, made history by being the first. So there's other aspects that I don't think that dancers see. Like, they're young. They're like so tunnel vision that they're like, I just want to be on the best team. And there's so many other options. And I think it happens here in Miami with, high schools as well.
For sure.
There's so many good high schools that you can be on their dance team. You don't have to have your mind focused on, I only want to go over here.
Yeah.
Like there's a big picture that you got to look at, and kids need to take a step back and look at everything before making their decision.
And every team had its time of being on the up and up. So Reef cadets didn't just go to UVA for the first time and win white jackets. It took you a long time. So you had your own team that was part of that growth.
Right,
where
and
now
you too.
Other teams. Yeah. Right. Now I've had that full circle moment of, now my team's been on the up and up, and now I'm there.
Right.
But every team has been through
and
that.
it's cool to be a part of that. It's cool to be
it really
look what I got to do.
that's why Like a Boy stands out to me. It's like, it was like the climbing of the mountain that's like,
we got here.
Before people really, people always talked about LSU, but not the way that they do now. Like, it was like, okay, they're a heavy hitter, but like, that's why it's special. It's like before the wins, when you like are working for it, and then it happens, that first win, I probably feel like you probably feel the same way, you'll always remember your first win. Like, it's just, it's
there's
different.
definitely gonna never be a feeling like that again.
Never.
It's
Never.
the best.
All wins are great. All wins are fun
We'll
to
take all
celebrate.
the wins we can get.
Yeah.
Trust. But the first one's always the most special.
Yeah, and that team will always be special to you. Like, you'll always have a connection with them, and it's like, you got me there. So it is special, and it's nice if you're the team member that did that. So I hope kids take that into consideration when they're trying to pick where to go. That it's great to be in LSU and great to go to Ohio and Minnesota. I mean, the UNLV, these are great schools, but you could also go to a school like UCF and be that team that made history,
right,
and is moving up little by little.
And there's just no guarantees. I mean, you could go to whatever top school and they could then fall down the rankings. It's just, you just never know. So that's why I think that it's so much more than just about like what they do at nationals. Because what if that does happen? Then are you going to be happy? Like, you can't put your value and your worth and your happiness in like what ranking you get at nationals. That would be unstable. Like, truly. So like, you have to know that you're making a decision based off like the campus, the place that you're going to be living, the people, the coaches, like all the things have to make sense for you, and that's a lot of factors. So
even the weather of where you're living,
how far away you're going to be, like can you get home easily if that's something that matters to you? It's all those stuff.
It could very easily happen that you get injured, you can't dance anymore.
Exactly.
That's it. Your dance team career can't do it. You need to be able to.
And connecting with the coach, I think, is so important. Like, you really need to be able to respect the coach, like them. You're going to spend a lot of time with that coach. That coach is going to tell you what to do, and you've got to be okay with them.
Right.
And you don't mesh with everybody. So
absolutely.
Take time to see, okay, is this a coach that I could be with every single day for 4 years?
Yep.
And make the decision based on things like that, not just like they won at nationals, I want to be there.
Exactly.
So I have a lot of the kids are like that, and I get it. I get that you want to be a part of that, but I think that you're right and have your options. Like, okay, go for that. That'd be great if you got it, but also you have this and you have that, and they could be just as great. Yeah. So I have like Mia Yanis, that she's at UM, and
sweet girl. I still have her button that she gave me.
Oh, I still have it too.
I'm like, I need a new one.
I still have it also. So funny, but she is in heaven.
Yes.
She loves what she does. Right. She's loving being on the team. She loves, the game day. She loves the palm stuff. She is just, she found her place. And it's so good to see, like, you see somebody who, they had different views of what they wanted to do, and this is what landed on their lap, and she is the happy. She's like, I can't imagine myself anywhere else. And so you're happy for them because she found her place and she's loving what she's doing, and she's helping bring the team up. So, there is a place for everybody. And I think this dance team world is going places that I would have never expected it 20 years ago.
Same.
I thought it was
I cannot believe. I'm like, I was so, I told you, I did not want to be a part of it anymore. I was like, all right, we're done. I was so ready to distance myself from it. And I find it so funny that like all these years later, I'm like, the thing that I'm still doing is dancing choreography. You could have, if you told me that like 10 years ago, I would have been like, there's zero way. There's no way. And here we are. So
and here you are.
It's just evolved. I feel like even for choreographers, it's pushed creativity to a whole other level.
Yes.
Because doing commercial choreography or doing, Broadway choreography, whatever it is that you're doing, there's so many differences.
Right.
And now dancing choreography just like pushes that creativity, and what can you do next? How can you outdo what you did the year before? Even if that was an iconic dance, how are you going to push and do better?
And you have done commercial stuff. So tell us a little bit about, because everybody doesn't get to work with you if they're not core Reef or LSU. So they're like, okay, well, I'm not in either one of those teams, so I'm never going to work with you. But you do other things, like you choreograph for DCC, which must have been so cool to do that.
It was so fun. It was really cool. It's funny because I've never really, I've done a few pro teams, but I don't really dabble in that world that much. It's cool because there's a lot of kids on the team now that Carson and I both know from LSU and Ohio State. So it was like fun to be brought in, and they were doing this like Texas tour. So it was like on like a live stage, tour vibes, live show, high entertainment value with like a smaller group of the team. And it was a lot of rookies, like a lot of first years. And when we came in, I just didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I was super excited to work with them, but I didn't have any expectations. And it's cool because, like, talk about, like, the transcendence of college dance team, so many of them, Texas Tech, Kentucky, LSU, Ohio State, I mean, like, South Carolina, there are so many people on that team that were college dance team kids. So I feel like we, like, scratched their itch a little bit with, like, the staging and, like, the moments. And they were like, oh, my God, this is so fun. And it was so cool to put together. We like designed the costume. That was fun. But I got to work with some kids that we haven't worked with since they graduated. And in that respect, I think that it was cool to, like, we did more of like a hip hop jazz funk for them. And I think people didn't realize, like, those dancers that are on the sidelines and look so pretty and, like, are a little bit more of a different style on the sideline can move like that. And, like, but I'm like, these are college like dance team kids. Like, so it was so fun to see them in that light, and they ate it up. They were so good, and it was so fun to watch. I wanted to go to a show, but I couldn't go. But it was really, really fun. And
I think that now with the DCC show on Netflix, I think that it has opened eyes to more of these college dancers. Like, I do want to keep doing this. I mean, it's different, but it's still the team aspect 100%. And still dancing on the field that they're used to doing, just in a different way. And so many of them are going now NFL and NBA, which is, I think it's amazing. I love it. And I think that you could still have a career. You could still, do what you want to do, but still get to dance on the side.
Yeah, and the LA world isn't for everybody. Like that. No. That's a really hard lifestyle. It's a hard lifestyle, and not everybody wants to 100%. Do that. 100%. So people felt like after college, it's Broadway or LA.
Yeah, there's really not enough options out there, like, post college dancing. So it's always nice to see, even how, like, the New York Knicks, like, they're like, the quality of everything is going up. And it's so funny that you said about LA, because it's like, I loved LA, but when I was there, the only reason why we left is because my husband got a job opportunity. It was right before COVID hit, though. So I was like, talking about God's timing. And after we left, I would not have started choreographing had I not left LA. Like, it wouldn't, so, like, the timing of everything was so on point in the sense that, like, okay, we left, COVID hit, what am I going to do? That's when I started choreo. And, like, it's so funny because when I was in LA, I was in this mindset of, like, I don't want to do that at all. I want to just dance. And the way that things unfolded, now I look back and I'm like, I didn't really realize when I was in it. And I'm so grateful for, like, the training that you get in LA. You can't really beat it. But on the other side now, like, being older, I'm like, it's just a really hard lifestyle to live. And I think at some point you have to, like, prioritize what you want. And I want to live in a place where I can not live paycheck to paycheck and, like, have a more comfortable life and not worry about whether the next, how I'm going to pay for this or how I'm going to pay my bills and all that stuff. So it was truly something that, like, I don't think in hindsight, I loved LA. I love California. It's great. But now looking back, I don't think I would have left myself had Connor not had the opportunity. And now I'm, like, telling these kids, I'm like, LA is a great opportunity, but it's not for everybody. And I think that there's this pressure of, like, it's LA or bust. And I'm like, no, there's so many more opportunities out there for sure. But it's just funny to think about, like, I was so sad to leave LA, and now I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't know how I survived there. I'm like, Connor, how did we survive? Like, where was the money coming from? How do we pay our rent? Like, it's just so hard to live there. But the opportunities in training are unmatched. And, like, I'm so grateful for that period of time in my life for the training and the opportunities that I had and the connections that I made, because it was the foundation of who I became as a choreographer. So,
and the thing is that when you're dancing like that, and you're having to pay for classes and then going out for jobs, not getting them, the stress of how am I going to pay my rent, it overtakes, like, any job that you want to get or any dancing that you could do, because then you have to start stepping back. Like, okay, well, I can't afford to go to the classes. I have to get a job somewhere else. Well, I'm not going to make it to the audition. So it all becomes
It's a
this big
balancing
web
act.
of like disaster.
How are you gonna make it happen? And it's different for everybody. And I was like really lucky to have some really great jobs when I was in LA that were flexible and understanding of like the end goal. But I think that in general, it's a really hard path. And I think that not enough people talk about the like financial side of it and like the reality of it. Like there are only so many opportunities, and there is only like the reality is that you're living in one of the most expensive cities in the world. So like you have to figure out a plan. And I think that that is something that maybe not a lot of people plan for and think of, but also it's 100% possible. You just have to like grind and like have a plan in place and have a job that's flexible. And you kind of have to, even if you have a college degree, you got to put your ego aside and have a serving job or a retail job so that you can go to the auditions. Like it's things like that. But
you need
about
you need money to survive an entire year before you move over. Like I have money so
Save
that
before you move,
I
for
have
sure.
like that flexibility because and then it's who you know. You know, you've got to go to those classes. You've got to know people. You've got to be connected because a lot of times they're like, I know exactly who I want.
Everything in the world, success-wise, is about who you know. Truly, it's about like your network. And the more that you do a good job of like putting forth a good first impression, the better in all areas you're going to be, because it really is all about like, who can I trust? Everyone's talented. And especially in LA, it's like, make your pick. Everyone has talent, but it's like, who can I trust on the job? Who's going to be on time? Who's gonna not forget this? Who can make changes last minute? It's like those, which by the way, are things that you learn on dance team.
Yeah.
Like spatial awareness, like being on time, being a good teammate. Those types of things are so rewarding if you do want to pursue a professional career. And it's interesting because we had a conversation with a talent at Clear with the LSU kids that I like connected them with, because it's kind of unprecedented how many people on LSU now want to pursue professional dancing. When I was on the team, I was the only one that wanted to do that. Now it's like all of them, which is so cool. But they are feeling like they're behind because they're like, well, now I'm in college and there's 18-year-olds out there that are pursuing this and getting an agent and already booking. Like I feel like I'm behind the curve. And I thought that it was so cool to hear from, she's the VP of Clear. Mish went on this long conversation with the kids about how valuable college dance team is and how she only sees pros. She only sees it as a positive, that you're not behind. Actually, what you're learning on a college dance team is preparing you to be a really great working professional. And the kids were like beside themselves that the agent was saying this. And I was like, yeah, guys. Like, and I think that it validated them that like what you're doing here has purpose in a different way than if you were in LA right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and they are getting those connections still on dance team, and they're still getting exposure.
Absolutely.
There are still people that are looking at them, know who they are. I mean, Marlee's a great example. People know exactly who Marlee Blanchard is.
Yep.
Everybody knows. She spent all of her time on Ohio State. People know who she is.
Yes.
And it's because of who she was on that team.
Yep.
No, and I tell my kids all the time, whenever I'm trying to teach a lesson that in dance team, I try to connect it to life's lessons.
Yes.
Like you need to do this in life. When you go for a job interview, you've got 25 people for the same job. How are you going to stand out? Same thing when you're in a room for dance. You're in a convention or you're, want a part. How are you going to stand out? Like you've got to learn that. So I try to connect everything they do in dance team to what life is. And you'd be surprised at how much they really learn in dance team that you don't learn in a studio or you learn in a classroom because of what dance team is and the way it's set up. So yeah, I agree with you completely. I agree that, they're getting life lessons for when they want to do their professional career just by being in a dance team.
I think that's becoming a more like a more exciting path for dancers coming out of high school that are maybe, like I said before, were really like that studio kid or that kid that was like, I'm at 18, I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to pursue this. And maybe they had like pressure from their parents, like I really want you to go to college, but before they were like, I don't want to. And now it's a place where it's like I can go to college and yes, of course, like the majority of your time is going to be in game day and supporting other athletes and things like that. But with the training that you get on a college dance team is now preparing you and is a good bridge, like timeline wise, like to build some maturity, to build some sense of self, train, get to know who you are, make those connections with other people to then go into the industry. So it's not so, going to LA 18 is tough.
I was going to say, I was like, you're a baby still, making decisions.
New York too, like both.
Well, right, and at any major hub for like dance, if you're going there at 18, me and Nathan talk about this a lot too, is like you can make a lot of mistakes that you're unaware of as an immature 18-year-old that could completely blow your career.
Yep, for sure.
I think because I was at the point too, and I almost considered doing that. I think of my 18-year-old self versus myself when I graduated college. Those are two entirely different people. And had I gone out when I was 18, I think that number one, I would have been taken advantage of. I would have been in places where I'm like, I don't know how to handle this. I would have probably done things I shouldn't have done from a career standpoint. You can't make your best decisions at that age, I feel. Is that possible? Have people done it? Absolutely. But I just think that there's a little more sense of security and like you're going to present yourself better and have a higher chance of success if you give yourself that time to mature through those years of college. And then now you have a schedule and a routine and you have this like built-in community that kind of sets you up to then like go afterwards. So.
Yeah. And you have an opportunity to build a resume too.
Yes.
Right before you go off and do that,
right.
Having that experience of college team, all of that, you make those connections. You can even get jobs while you're there, while you're
Absolutely.
in college team. You can still do so much. And it does push your creativity, even if you want to go into things like choreography in LA, do whatever. So.
And there's kids on LSU that they already have agents. That Mish from Clear, I think that one of the big misconceptions is like you can't have an agent be represented while you're on a dance team. That's absolutely not true. They understand that you're in college and that like you have a certain amount of unavailability, but they're willing to work with you. Like if you have, a summer, a chunk of time, and there's a music festival happening, like they will put you on availability if it makes sense for you. And she said point blank, if you want to be represented and you haven't been, like submit. Like you being on a college dance team is not preventing that. So I think that that's exciting too. Is that it's like there are those crossroads of like these agents now want to work with the LSU kids because they see like their value. And I think that's happening with a college dance team in general is like, okay, you have so much value and people are not realizing the connection. Like that's because of college dance team. Like you're now in a place where you have notoriety in a sense and like trust because you can dance on a team. You can do these two styles and it's seen in this way that's like wasn't usually touching the people on social media that it was. And now it's so mainstream that it's showing like how it crosses over with the industry. So these kids are in a better place now to like take those opportunities, which is so exciting because that is not how it used to be. So, yeah.
And tell us a little bit about some of the other conventions that you've taught us. So you've been able to like dabble a little bit on different conventions in different places.
Yeah.
And kids have been able to take your classes, but they don't all know about it. So if they wanted to take a class from you, where do you teach at? How do they find you?
I love going out and like teaching even at studios. And generally when I'm teaching at studios and master classes like across the country, it's generally open classes where anybody can come. So I always, not to shameless plug, but I always post those on my Instagram story. If you don't follow me, I will definitely post on my story whenever I'm teaching anywhere. But I love, like, that's why I love the summer as like before choreography season starts. Like I love the pressure of choreography is like, can be a lot. And so by the time that I like do like choreography season and then competition season, by the time that I get to like combo masterclass season, it's so fun because it's like, okay, like no pressure, connecting with kids. It's really cool to see these conventions. Like last summer I did, this past summer, I went to Velocity and they had an entire night dedicated to college dance team and like had college dance team coaches come. I taught a hip hop class. There was Caitlin taught like jazz, Quentin taught pom. And it was so fun to watch these like convention kids at Velocity who have never done pom, really aren't in the dance team world at all, do these styles and look, it was so entertaining and they were so amazing. And I think that it was really cool to see in that event, like those worlds cross.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. But I mean, the Dance Awards now has an element. All these, it's so crazy. I would have never guessed. Like all these conventions now are like, oh, dance team, college dance team. So it's really cool to see. I mean, I obviously taught at the Combine at Tribe 99.
You taught at Five
World. Yeah, that is so fun. That's just like one of the funnest events ever. I mean, they're truly the best. So Five World, yeah, this is my second year teaching there, and the faculty there is like such a fun group, so that's always a good one. But yeah, I mean, I kind of am everywhere, all over the place. I'm like always on a plane, going somewhere new, but I love to travel and I love to teach, and it's kind of not necessarily always the same places, but wherever the opportunities come from, and generally I post about it, so that's how you can come and take a class with me.
Yeah, I'm so excited because I'm a big dance team believer. I've always loved the concept of dance team and what it does for the kids and how it brings them together and the teamwork. It's not about the soloist, it's about the group, and it just teaches so much. And it took so long for the dance world to recognize dance teams. So it's so exciting to sit on this end and be like,
we're here.
I told you.
No, I know.
Everybody just listen to Becky, right?
Like, what would Becky do?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and it's exciting because it's everywhere now, and kids, they're great dancers and they want to be a part of this. And
it's so crazy.
Everybody wants a dance team now, and everybody wants to experience what dance team is like, and whether it's in high school, in college. in pro, like you're seeing these kids who are studio trained all of a sudden trying to get into like the Dolphins and DCC, and
It's
like
wild.
it's so nice to see the world come together. So I'm excited, and I love that you're part of both, because you've been a part of this for so long,
Right.
and you're a big part of this exploding and becoming what it is now. So I'm grateful to have you on my side.
I'm so grateful to be here. It's truly the best. I mean, being a part of Coral Reef, and I think back to like I said, the version that started Coral Reef, and like being in that courtyard in that little tiny gym trying to choreograph, being like, how do I do this? Nathan's like, so like, what did you do your first year? Like, how did you know what to do? I'm like, I didn't. I'm like, and there was like so much, like even with you and me, like so much back and forth, so many changes being made. Now we are a well-oiled machine, but like, I think people, it's so crazy how, and I'm so lucky that like off rip, I found a team that like immediately I connected with, and it was like, okay, like these are my people. And here we are all these years later, still doing it.
Yeah, you change everybody's name, but they love it. They go with it.
I do. I can't pronounce all the Miami names with their accents, and they rip me. So I'm like, okay, I'll just give you a nickname, because when we're doing formations and I'm in level 10 stress, I can't be like rolling my R's. I'm like, okay, so gotta do what I gotta do. The kids understand, but I'm like, hey.
No, and I'm in the back laughing the whole time. I love.
There's like 16 Camis, 14 Mias. I'm like, oh my God, this is. At one point yesterday, like all the Mias were next to each other. I'm like, oh my God, it's the Mia trifecta. But yeah, it's always fun being here, and I love Miami so much, and the talent is like top notch, and that's why it's been like my dying mission to get these Miami kids out of Miami and like into different dance teams, because I'm like, you're like the anomaly. Like Corp's like where do all these like talented kids go? And so I'm so happy. Like obviously, I think that like when we got Ange on LSU, it was like, we have made it.
We did it.
Finally, yeah. After many years. And then now Nicole, Ohio State. I mean, and it's so, I mean, you had mentioned it. It's like, yeah, like I bleed LSU, and I love LSU so much. But like at the end of the day, like I want to see these kids dance at the college level. It's not about being on the team that I went to. It's like, I think there's a spot for everybody, and I want them to find that experience for themselves. And I want that to be right for them. So I'm never going to be like LSU or bus. Like, I'm so happy for Nicole, and I know that there's going to be more this year that are graduating that are going to be dispersed.
You're just too talented to stop dancing.
The senior class at Coral Reef is wild. I can't, like, it's going to be, I think it's going to be really, like, in like 2 years, college nationals, like seeing all those kids on that stage.
I know, it's going to be so exciting. Because back in the day, my kids went to FSU and UCF, and that was it. I mean, I would go to college nationals and see FSU and UCF, and it was great. I loved it. But
absolutely.
Now, to finally, it was great that Angie made that decision. Like, she opened the door for kids to say, "Oh, okay, we could leave Florida."
Absolutely, and I knew that it just took one. I was like, we just need to get one, and then they'll understand. Even the parents, like, it's so cool how. Just my experiences of being at LSU, when I see like DeFazio's or Demaya's parents, like it's like they're now understanding it more too. So it's like it really is. It requires like somebody to go through it for then like everybody to be involved and understand it, because it is like kind of a complicated process.
Yeah, and parents, they want to be part of the process. They just don't know what to do.
Right.
And so it's great when they have somebody guiding them or giving them feedback and try this, do this. Because, I mean, you're clueless. You've never done it. You might not ever do it again.
I know.
It's a one shot. And what do I even do? So it's great when they have somebody that could give them feedback and hold their hand and say, do this, try this. And so
I'm so excited for this class.
Well, Sammy, it's been so good to have you here. I mean, I get to see you often, but it was nice to finally get you here.
48 hours to finish this routine. Pray for me.
No, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I'm so excited. Stand by. Prepare for impact for this year for Coral Reef.
Yeah.
We're
for real. It is
a good one.
Real, different. It's people are going to go, wow.
Becky may have questioned it at first, and now she's fully on board.
No, I admit when I'm wrong. I admit when I'm wrong, and I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
There were a lot of spirals.
There have been a lot of like intertwined spirals. But now we're surviving.
Yeah, a lot of ledges that needed talking off of. A lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a part of the process every year. But I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I think that they're 100% sold. Also, they're loving the whole entire process of it. They're loving what they're doing.
I was so nervous to start with them this year because of the concept, but they fully bought in, and we're here. And they didn't even bat an eyelash really.
And then having Nathan with you has been, truly
the best.
They don't realize how lucky they are. They don't realize like what, Nathan and Jovi and having Angie there with you, and they're just. Kalia coming in. I mean,
truly, I'm like, these are my people. And I'm like so grateful.
It takes a village.
It does. It truly takes a village. And I think that there's something to be said about like, sometimes people don't want to like admit that they need help. I, since the beginning, have always been the opposite. I'm like, I know that having people around me that support me and love me and like I can talk ideas with, that I trust from a creative standpoint, like, and how everyone was there is just, and how like at the end of the process, I love when everybody comes.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we've made it. It's like the Olympic like closing ceremonies. I'm like, we have made it. It's just, it really is such a family.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm so lucky to have them, and I'm so excited to share it with the world.
And it's important for people to accept people around them to help guide them, because doing it by yourself is never easy. And having like somebody could be like, that doesn't look good, or you know, try this instead. Like they could just grab what you're doing and just
you can't have an ego. You have to be like okay with, you know, different. The more perspectives, the better. Way better.
So, I love having more, you know, hands in the pot. To me, there's nothing better than having 50 eyes there looking and catching all the little things. So be ready.
I can't wait. See you in Nationals.
And to our audience, thank you so much for sitting with us here with Sammy, the amazing Samantha McFadden. We've had a great time with you, and we're so happy that you were able to come in.
Love you guys.
And if you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram. And if you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to click on the link tree in our bio and fill out our Google form.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.